Whoa!
Welcome to the What's Up Verdict podcast, where we fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-host, Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
We appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead, hit that follow, subscribe, like, bell notification buttons. Hit them all. It'll let you know when our new episodes come out. Of course, we can just tell you they come out every Monday, but we still want you to hit that stuff. Also, help us grow the podcast by telling a friend, family member, coworker.
Not convicted murderer. Don't tell a convicted murderer about us, please.
Please don't tell convicted murderers. Don't tell anybody that you know that might be like most of the people in this movie.
yeah, we can do without them.
Yeah, we'll pass. For the sake of Alec, we'll pass. Like,
thank you.
I'd probably get along with a few of them, but
I'm the problem child now. I like it.
For the sake of Alec's sanity, let's not tell too many of them. But we definitely want your friends, family members, coworkers, and we appreciate you hanging out with us. Also, go check out Patreon. We have lots of content there, lots of fun. You can vote on movies, you can vote on topics, you can provide us topics that we can then put movies in that you can vote on. So, and all that's free. And then we do have some tiers where you get some extra content, even full bonus episodes are in there. And then a few lucky patrons get to tell us what movies to watch on a quarterly basis, no matter how shitty or wonderful they may be. And we've had a pretty good mix of both, I think. But it's been some wonky ass movies in those.
The wonky
episodes.
Ones are the wonkiest.
Yeah, they've been weird. Some of them downright scarring. But look, we're on the final episode of October, John Cusack's month, and it's Identity. It was released April 25th, 2003. It was written by Michael Cooney, and it was directed by James Mangold, the James Mangold. I think this was one of his first movies that he ever directed. And it stars John Cusack, Ray Liotta, Amanda Peet, John Hawkes, Alfred Molina, Clea Duvall, John C. McGinley, William Lee Scott. I'm be going for a minute. There's a big fucking cast. Jake Busey, Pruitt Taylor Vince, Rebecca De Mornay, Matt Lasher, and Holmes Osborne. Don't forget about Brett Lore, though he was a child. He's not anymore. It's about a few people stranded at a desolate Nevada motel during a nasty rainstorm. 10 strangers become acquainted with each other when they realize they're being killed off one by one. That was a much better synopsis than the last movie we did.
Yeah.
Very accurate. This is, again, my movie. And, again, it's dualistic for me. One, absolutely to mess with my co-hosts, both Mattson and Alec. Because Mattson, if he'd stuck around, which he's not with us anymore for now, his wife would have killed him if he was watching this shit. Because she's like got this. Though at the same time, when you get down to the crux of what this movie's about, she would have ended up being intrigued because she's a psychiatrist, one of the two. And she's a child psychiatrist, so maybe she would have been mad at me about the whole child thing. Anyway, I also did it because we're in October, and I needed to fuck with Alec. And thankfully, it got voted on, and so we watched it. But on the flip side of this, the other piece of it is I enjoy this movie. I think this cast is absolutely stacked. And as weird as this movie is at times, and at times how predictable it is in a lot of ways, it also has a pretty fun little bit of a twist. And it's also like, it's tense, especially the first time you watch it. If you don't know what's going on, you're like, what the fuck is happening? And
I'll say,
yeah. And it's an intense movie. Like, it's pretty, like, you talk about thriller. It gets a little tense in moments and
just a bit.
creepy, and they keep you like, what the fuck are we doing here? Anyway, so I like it, but I think this, to me, on the flip side, so last week we talked about peak romantic comedy Cusack. I think this is peak dramatic Cusack. Like, I love this. I love Cusack in this film. I love how dark and broody and serious, and yet Cusack he is. Like, he's still John Cusack, but he's this darker, more serious, but still that, like, kind of weird, odd, strange guy. But you can't help something about Cusack, to me, it's in every film, that I think really shines is you can't help but trust this dude, and you root for him. And that's why I've never seen. Maybe he has. I don't know. Even as an assassin in 2 movies, like you're like, let's go John Cusack. Like you can't help it. Like he's just that guy, right? But this movie, I really like that he gets to stretch those drama chops, and like it's a very serious movie and it's a very serious part. It's not his quirkiness and weird comes out in a very dark and very interesting way versus the dichotomy of what we watched last week with Serendipity, where it's very goofy and silly and fun that way. This is not silly and goofy and fun. It's very serious and very dark and very disturbing in a lot of ways, and he plays it wonderfully. Like this is one of my favorite Cusack movies, not because the movie itself's amazing, but because to me he just kills it. So that was one of the reasons, like the main reasons that I picked it to get voted for us, and I was glad it got chosen. And I know this was your first time seeing this, so I'm interested to hear, besides you hating me, what you thought.
So, little background, right? So, I pick movies to watch kind of based on, I know you're not supposed to do this, but I will judge a book by its cover.
Sure.
So, you can see the logo down there, right? I ain't watching a movie that's got a logo like that.
Yeah.
You're scrolling through Netflix and you see, like, John Cusack's face with blurred background, and there's clearly ominous tones. I scroll past that. I'll go watch something fun and exciting and lightning. And then on top of that, I am really influenced when I watch a movie and based on how I feel on my surroundings, right? I've had a bad string of luck where, at opportune moments, the door knocks or the power goes out or something along those lines, some outside force kind of, affects how I feel about the movie. Mm-hmm. On the flip side, I also tend to look for things in movies where I could be like, haha, fake, I'm good. Or, haha, lie, that would never happen. And watch this, right? And motherfucking raining in Phoenix today. You know how many days a year it rains in Phoenix?
Like 4. 2. Yeah.
And it just so happens that on the day I watch Identity, which starts off in a rainstorm before all fucking hell breaks loose. Mm-hmm. Driving on the 202 loop going, in very little visibility going, geez, if I was on the road, this would be a nice spot to pull over for a motel. No. So that huge effect on my viewing of Identity and my overall feeling. And oh boy, it got me. I mean, I will say I always love a movie with Ray Liotta in it.
Oh yeah.
The little man crush there.
He's
phenomenal. And this movie is a great psychological thriller. Bad part about this movie, I hate fucking kids. Despise little bastards. And the ones recently that have gotten me that JJ's made me watch all involve some kind of sick, twisted, demented child that is the cause of all the problems. And holy fuck, I will have some trouble sleeping tonight. Yeah, and tomorrow night, and the night after that. But it's good. We'll say that it's good. Mm-hmm. But oh boy, did I hate it. And I've been jumping around corners and shadows, and I had to go. A little more background. I work for a company that deals with kids, right? Indoor fun parks.
So ironic.
I've been around little shits all day today, and I've been working on stuff and some technical stuff, so I'm not paying attention, right? And we all know kids. They'll just like come over, climb on top of you, and be like, hey, what are you doing? Dude, I've had so many where I'm just like, I'm like half ready to go. Like 17 feet of space around.
Love it.
Because you never know.
Yeah.
You never know with these little guys.
Yeah.
Especially in movies. Never trust a kid.
I don't know. Especially in horror movies. And here's the problem. They did a good job making you trust this one. And I think what really got me, I remember watching this the first time because I love horror movies. I love John Cusack. I'm obsessed with Amanda Peet. I love Ray Liotta. So like I was sold on this movie the instant I saw the preview. I was like, oh, I'm seeing that shit. And I remember going to the theater and being like, oh, this poor fucking kid, man. Like of all the people to be stuck. and that, like, you just watch your mom get fucking run down by a car. She's bleeding all over the place. Now you're watching dead bodies. You're watching, like, it's wild the shit this kid goes through. And then the best part, I think, is he doesn't say a fucking word the whole movie, because he doesn't talk. He doesn't have to deliver lines. He doesn't have to be believable, because you're just looking at him as this traumatized child that was traumatized before this all happened. And now it's just been compounded, right? So it's like, how do I even suspect that this kid's fucked up?
Yeah, he's like part of the background or the scenery.
Yeah.
Like, they did a very good job. And I'll tell you, like, straight from the get-go, right? Because the first, spoiler, the first killing, right? You have just severed head.
Yeah.
And not a single part of me was like, oh, who's responsible for that?
Little
15,
kid.
Yeah, a little kid, a little 5-year-old. He's the one who did it.
Yeah.
And especially as you get further along and you start to learn more about the people involved, kid gets further and further from your, just off the radar. Not even there. It almost even becomes a forgotten character, like less than the background and the scene.
Yeah.
And so it's just a very good job of keeping it under wraps and not telegraphing where they're going, and keeping the story, keeping you on your toes the whole time. And I know it is so. And every single time, then it's like they get ticked off the list, and then you start wondering, well, who could it be? Like, does it end up being Ed? And tick off the list. And so they did a really good job with that.
Yeah.
Despite the existential terror I was feeling, I was entranced with the story from start to finish on it.
Yeah. And I think, like, so there comes a certain point, and let me ask you this before I get into this point. Did you figure out I know it's dissociative identity story, DID now. Did you figure that out? Or when did you figure it out? Or did that, because your existential dread kept your brain from firing on all cylinders?
So when I was watching, I was honed in on the actual story that they're showing you.
Yeah.
And so I was also looking for connections when they're looking for connections and trying to piece together, like, who's the main architect that put all these people in this place, or who's the cause behind it, right? Because there's frequently that kind of trope. And so I'm looking, maybe they're connected somehow. Maybe there's multiple people working together, right? Maybe it's a Scream thing. There's two killers.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines where, there's always a connection. And then when you figure out that this is all just like going on in freaking brain and it's being narrated, that was just like, oh my, mind blowing. Yeah. I was shocked, and I was sitting there going, damn, they got me. Hook, line, and sinker. I was buying it all. Especially when they get to the point where this big like reveal where it's like, oh, well, my birthday's next week, right? And you think, oh, that's stupid. And then so's mine. You get this idea like, oh, hang on a second.
Yeah.
Maybe this twisted killer, because we obviously know a twisted killer has a thing for people and tracked them all down and did all this weird shit, voodoo shit or something like that. But no.
Yeah.
It's just that it's the same identity or different identities within the same person. And so all these details match up. And so I thought it was extremely well done. If I hadn't been peeing my pants, I probably would have appreciated it a little bit more. But, it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, that means it did its job. I'll be honest, I figured it out I don't want to say pretty early. It was probably about halfway. So what triggered me was the very first question I had is like, why are we in two separate places? Why are we having this not trial, but this hearing, this midnight hearing for a stay of execution? And then where is the overlap in these stories, right? So then my brain, I can't help it. I start going down the road of, to your point, is there a second killer that this guy was involved with? He's crazy. They pinned it all on him because he was easy to do it to, right? That was my initial thought, right? And then I was like, what got me though is when Ray Liotta's character tries to leave, or not Ray Liotta, when the dude tries to run away and then circles back, the criminal guy, and he's like, what's his face? Crazy guy's son. Anyway, the guy that was the criminal in it, when he runs away and he loops around and he thinks he's run away on the other side, and all of a sudden he's back at the hotel. I was like, no. That's not real. Like, you can't get that twisted. This is a fucking bright neon bullshit sign. Like, this guy's not fucking circling back like that. At least not that quickly. So I was like, there's something wrong with this whole fucking scenario. And so then my brain started, and then it finally clicked when the birthday shit came up. I went, oh, God damn it. This is all the guy. They're all personalities, and they're winding it down. And that's where and then the numbers clicked in, and it's a countdown of all the different personalities, the keys, and I was like, okay, oh, I got it. But what fucked with me is I was like, okay, so now it's easy. And I got comfortable because I went, it's got to be fucking, it's either Leota's character or it's Paris, and it's just this sneaky son of a bitch thing where she's like this fucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and she's playing it well. And in my head, I'm like, okay, it's obvious he can't stand his mom because she was a hooker or she was a sex worker. Let me back that up. My bad. She was a sex worker, and he had this bias towards the actual guy we see in when he's talking to those overlapping discussions early on, that he couldn't stand the fact that his mother was a prostitute. Okay. So I was like, oh, she's going to be because the villain in his mind's got to be what? A prostitute. So I was thinking it's fucking Amanda Peet. And she's the next biggest besides Leota, who's now dead or working on being dead. I was like, it's got to be Paris. So that's where I was going. Then those sons of bitches got me with that little motherfucker. Slap it when he comes out of there in Florida, when you're all like, yeah, Paris doing oranges. And all of a sudden he picks up that fucking rake thing. I'm like, oh no. And he was terrifying. Like smacking that shit at the do. What a great fucking addition to that. But that's where, like, I thought I was super smart. I was like, oh, I figured this out. Multiple personality disorder. And then I went, oh, these sons of bitches, they got me on this kid. And the fact that it ends on that line of whores don't get a second chance, I was like, oh no, this kid's fucked up. And then the Vans, what a fucked up ending this movie has. But I love it.
So I'm glad you walked me through that, because it's great to see where our minds diverge.
Yeah.
Right. Because you see the guy leaving and coming back, and that flags you as being like, oh, this thing's fake. When that happened, I was like, oh, it's a ploy. Like he's playing a con, or it's a move for him so that he can get the fear and the tension up and everything going on.
Yeah.
And, what kind of crazy motherfucker's going to just wander off in the middle of the night after someone else did it and said they circled back? Like, you're going to stay in the light. And so that's where my mind went. And so you're already thinking you're already in your mind. You're like, oh, it's fake. There's something else going on here.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, dude, this guy's an idiot. He's giving away his entire plan.
I love it. And I love too what they do to like really obfuscate like what's going on too. Like they have the random ass, the freaking weirdo chick that's like freaking the fuck out, and then all of a sudden this random ass that if you're paying attention, you see the brochure that talks about the burial ground. But like when it first came up, I was like, what? I was like, you're going supernatural with this shit? Like, why would you do that? And so it threw me off for a minute. But again, it's genius shit. Because we want to be like, oh, God, really? You're going to go with the fucking burial ground shit? But it distracts you for like 5 minutes, right? Going, they're not going to do that. And no, they didn't. But
Smoke and mirrors.
They sure messed you. Yeah, they throw all sorts of little shit out. And it's, and it's interesting too, like the other piece going back to the fact that it's a kid. Like you think about the way that the criminal dude died. Busey's character died. That little kid is not shoving that bat all the way down that man's throat. So I'm like, there's no way it's the kid. When you see, because I mean, that thing was in his fucking gullet. Like that wasn't that thing was almost touching his balls. It was so fucking far down his throat. So I was like, there's no way that little kid could do that. But then so it's wonderful the way that the structure can distract you from what the truth of this story is, even though it's all right in front of your face. Like if you go back and watch it again, which I know you won't, but because I've watched this so many times, like I start to see and I'm like, God damn it, how did I not see that, right? Because once you know the fact that none of them are real, they're having this basically twisted fucking multiple personality fantasy of like narrowing down to one identity versus the 10, you start to realize it doesn't matter if he's a little kid. Like, what's going to happen is going to happen because the personality and these personalities are as powerful as they want to be, because technically they're a figment of this man's psyche, right? Like, you don't have to be some big burly ass to stick a baseball bat down a dude's throat. That's why when the bodies start disappearing, that's the other thing that got me. The bodies start disappearing. I'm like, wait, what the fuck is happening right now? And then that's the other thing that triggered me when the birthday thing came up. I was like, oh, they're disappearing because they're not real. I was like, it's not real. And it's so genius, the little breadcrumbs that they give you, that if you can do it. And I, like I said, the fact that there's so many like twists and turns to the movie, dude. And some of the jump scares, you had to have peed yourself a couple times.
Just 6 or 7. It's fine.
Yeah. Like, I love, like, when she's locked in the bathroom, the one I always thought of when I was watching it with you, and she's in the bathroom and like he goes quiet and she goes up to the door and all of a sudden he bangs on it again. Had to have gotten you.
Oh, yeah. No, I jumped about 4 feet up off the couch.
Yeah. Or even when the mom got hit early on, like she steps back.
Yeah, because it just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So they did a good job there. I hated every single one of them, but they did a good job with it.
Yeah.
And so I can appreciate the game while hating the player.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Well, and then I have the question too. So here's a question for you. This is philosophical. Okay. They don't ever give you an answer. Is the dude in the fucking freezer another personality?
Oh, like a dormant one?
Yeah. Was it a
one or a disused one? That's
interesting. Was that the first elimination of a personality? All right. Yeah.
I could definitely see it being so, because this is a movie, and you kind of touched on a little bit, but with the hints and the clues and the breadcrumbs that they're leaving, like, especially since once you figure out that like this is all taking place someone's mind, right? This is a movie where you have to watch it, and every single detail or background thing can't be taken as, oh, we're filling space on set.
Yeah.
Right. They were putting thought into where they're putting what they're showing. So the fact that they are showing Freezer Boy has to at least lean towards the fact that this is a personality, either the first elimination. But if the body's still there, I also wonder if maybe it's a dormant one or a not yet formed personality. Or, you know, if they're capped at like 10, right, whatever. And so now that they're down to 1, if it's going to start, you know, those spaces have to be filled, let's say.
Yeah.
And so this is the next number 2 or whatever you might be. And so it's a personality in loading or downloading. So I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I don't either. But it's often one of those things that every time I see it, I'm like, what's the other than distraction, right? Because then it puts there's this like, well, now you have to be curious about what's his face, because we don't know if he killed that guy or not. He says he found him dead in a banquet pot pie. Like, very specific. But who knows, right? Like, we don't know. Maybe again, we know that the actual person has been going through treatment for a very long time, long enough that they figured out, and he's had conversations, the doctors had conversations with Ed. So it's like, is the first bringing to this location of collecting these guys, did that take place between these first 2, right? The hotel or the motel runner, the owner, whatever, and what's his face that comes in, the weirdo, because he obviously would have been a stronger personality too, because he had some of that twisted, I don't like prostitutes piece, right? And so it's like, man, maybe he may not be as twisted as the kid, but he's still fucked up. Like, and did he kill so there's a lot to this movie.
There's a lot.
Subtle.
And while you're talking, I was actually, as the idea popped in my head, I wonder if Freezer Boy is like the original personality.
Yeah.
So I don't know how DID works.
I don't either.
Right over my head. I'm an idiot. I don't deal with psyche. I'm a psychopath, but I don't, mess around with any of it. But if there's got to be an original personality, right?
Yeah.
And then these other personalities form. So I wonder if the reason why he's frozen in stasis and still around is because he's the actual core personality. And as long as the others exist, then he continues to exist.
Dude.
If that makes any sense.
What
And
if
so
that's his actual personality?
that's his personality that's stuck.
Because he's
frozen in
bald,
time.
he's a big dude. Oh, fuck, dude.
And as long as the others exist, like he's still there, but he's not being used because the others have taken up all the space or all the available gigabytes within the brain.
I've never put that.
Because that popped in my head when you were talking about.
Because that's another thing we never see. We never see the guy's actual personality. He's always someone else or one of these personalities, at least when we see it, right? So that's a son of a bitch. Maybe
there's
that's
not one that really matches him.
Yeah. And maybe it's a good point towards the mental health real problem of maybe his actual personality was killed off by these person, long time ago, right? Like, and it works with the dialogue too. He's like, I forgot all about him. I put him in the freezer because it was hot. And then I just kept going. Like, fuck, dude, that's an extra layer. I didn't even woofty. Well done, you. Fucked up. This movie's fucked up.
Like, no, it is, but
it's fucked up.
It's kind of a cool fucked up.
Oh, I love it. I love the idea. And I'll be honest, like there's some places where like I want a little bit more, but I think again, it's an hour and a half long. So it's very streamlined. It moves very quickly. And again, there's some parts where I'm like, geez, that's hard. But at the end of the day, when you get to the resolution and the understanding, that instant that Cusack pops up in the trial piece or like the hearing piece, like everything goes, it doesn't matter how off kilter or unrealistic or any of that it is, because we know it's taking place in his head and it's not real. So I have to all of a sudden go, well, I can't fucking judge based on what the reality of a certain situation would be, because there is no reality in this situation from a certain point of view, right? Like, because it's all taking place in his head. It's basically a fantasy in his mind. So I'm like, fuck, I want to hate like how weird, but here it goes, and it messes with you. And I think it's also on a serious side, less about the movie. Like, again, I know nothing about DID other than what I've had conversations. I don't remember what we did. I don't even know if you were in on it at that point, but we did another show that talked about DID, and Taylor came on, Mattson's wife came on and talked about DID a little bit from her perspective. And I don't remember what it was.
I think I might have been there, but I wouldn't have kept up with it.
Sure. And I can only remember the conversation. I can't remember what all she said about it. But I say all that to say, like, it's an interesting, like, storytelling perspective, and not even that. It's like an interesting outlook or take maybe on DID and what that might be. Right?
It was Moon Knight. It was Moon Knight.
It was Moon Knight. It was. I knew, and that's why I said show, not movie. It was Moon Knight. Yep.
Which I'm still mad about that we haven't gotten a second.
I know.
This bitch.
I know. Remind me after we're done recording, and because there's anyway, I have an interesting thought on that one. But yeah, so like, it's a very interesting, and again, I don't know how much reality. I don't know if that's even the treatment, if that's a real thing where we try to eliminate personalities or, whatever it is. But goddamn, is it interesting? It makes for an interesting conversation or think piece, right? Like where you're like, could you do that? Could you eliminate down to one or two of the gentle ones, the ones that aren't a problem, or ones that don't create issues for this person? And maybe or can you eliminate it down to where it's just their base personality? Or is that split, that crack permanent to some level, right? I don't know enough about it. But
I like speculating much more.
Yeah. It's probably a lot more boring than I'd like to admit, but
exactly.
The movie makes it an interesting conversation at the very
That's
least.
why the movie doesn't explain it, because then it lets us go and to think about it and draw our own conclusions.
So my last thought, and the one thing that really gets me with this movie, is that moment when Cusack pulls up into his performance as that cuts away from them being in the rain. He's trying to figure it out. He's starting to piece together that there's something weird going on, and he can't explain it. And then he finds himself in the actual spotlight, if you will, of the personalities. And it's like, holy shit, the performance he gives on in that moment where he looks in the fucking mirror and he like loses it, like, what'd you do to my face? Like, and then it cuts from Cusack to the actual actor that's the guy. Dude, that scene fucks with me because I cannot even fathom what that would be like. And then you have to wonder, okay, again, from a DID perspective that I don't know enough about it, does that personality, this created personality, have, like, where's the line drawn with how that impacts this as a human being? Or, you know, how much empathy can I have for someone that's a personality versus a person? But that personality is at its core a part of this person, right? So like how much
of
can
the
I
person
not
is in
have
the
some
personality?
empathy, right? Like how do I not? And so what really gets me is how much that draws on me, that moment where I feel horrifically uncomfortable for this person, whether it's the personality, the real guy, like whatever it is. I have just this immense amount of skin crawl where I'm like, I can't even fathom what that would be like, where you just pop up every once in a while as part of a personality. And then you look at you have a vision of what you look like and who you are. And then you see something different and you become aware. And that's another question. Could a personality become aware that they're just a person? Fuck, it makes me ask so many questions. But I love that scene. The acting in that scene is unreal from everybody involved. Even the judge whose face goes, what the fuck? So, yeah, I love that whole scene.
No, you bring up a good point because it is a mind fuck on extraordinarily high levels.
Yeah.
Because there's levels upon levels and there's not enough kind of common knowledge about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I couldn't picture a different personality, right? You know, versus like I know I have mood swings in a way where it's like, hey, you know, fuck around and find out, or come correct or get corrected,
Yeah.
or you know, there's different things where I interact with people differently based on you know how they interact with me and things like that, and I can change, you know, how people perceive me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all conscious.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like the fighter part of me goes to sleep and doesn't remember anything while the more gracious or whatever person takes over in a situation. Like
Yeah.
I'm still conscious of the whole process and I remember, or it's a conscious decision that I'm making.
Mm-hmm.
So to not be in the driver's seat or to have this battle going on in the background is terrifying.
Yeah.
And then to top it off, right? You because a big part of this whole movie is like, you know, are the personalities that are left, you know, the violent ones, or are they the
Mm-hmm.
more, you know, amicable ones? And like in that situation, there's no way to tell.
Yeah.
Right. Except that we all know if it comes down to a fight, the violent one is gonna win.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes, can they, you know, adapt enough to give out this vibe that they're not the violent one, right? Can they pull this catch-22 or pull this off long enough to, you know, convince everybody of the ruse? And so that's where it turns into that, you know, real kind of tricky situation, because how do you know, as someone who's having to judge or, you know, decide, hey, is this guy going to get the death penalty, or is he going to go into a psychiatric place, right? And you know, we obviously know the violent personality took over, and you know, it wasn't the personality we're expecting, and so then it leaves you very kind of open-ended. But that inner battle, like I can't even fathom, because everything I do is a conscious decision that I'm going to do it, and I couldn't imagine someone else in the driver's seat of this.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's terrifying, isn't it? That's one of those disorders, or like, yeah, whatever you want to call it, that I would just be like, I'm so glad.
Like I'm leaving any kind of 25 square mile radius. If I know I'm out of there.
I can't even think. That's just unfathomable to me. So interesting movie. Should we rate it?
Let's do it.
All right, my movie again. I'm gonna give this one a 4. I'm gonna give it a 4 because is it where it's really good, it's fucking unreal good. There are moments where I'm like, okay, this was unnecessary, or they're trying too hard. And I think, again, I go back to like, I could have done without the whole trying to like have the weird burial ground thing. Like, I think that just, as much as I'm like, yeah, I get what they're trying to do and throw you off and add all sorts of like, well, fuck, is this a horror movie? Is this a ghost movie? Is this trying to keep you off the scent? Like, I think they did a little too much, and sometimes I get annoyed by it while I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, just take me back to the cool shit, people dying, and then the really interesting storytelling that you're giving me. But that's my really only gripe. I think the acting's really good, and when you get a cast like this together, of course it's going to be good. And I think the premise of it is wildly interesting, and it makes for some really good conversations. Like I mean, it's probably one of the most interesting conversations we've had in a long time about a movie because of the topic and what it is and what this whole thing turns out to be. And man, there's some good scares, and it just kind of keeps you on the edge of your toes and trying to figure things out the whole hour and a half you're watching it for the most part. So, and it's just fucking emotionally destructive. Like, you're like, Jesus, what is happening with all the crazy shit? So I like it. Not a perfect movie, but it's good. And I'll watch this one again anytime, unlike yourself. But yeah, so 4 for me.
Yeah, so I will not be watching this again. But I think if it wasn't as, because it's a tricky one. So the source material is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that's appealing to me. But it comes with the, the outer, on my first watch, I have these outer forces working on it. So it's like already in my mind is never going to happen ever again. But I'm going to give it a 3.5. I agree with like the burial ground stuff and leaving some stuff off. Yeah. But I wouldn't like cut it out. I would replace it almost. And again, this is coming from someone who has no idea how DID works, but I would replace it with having a little bit more, personality team up, or like not as a group necessarily trying to figure it out, but finding connections between two of them that are more so than everybody else. And so you kind of get almost like this team kind of thing going, or to almost like gain up on another personality, and so you can tick off more or people that you wouldn't think. And so you keep this hidden everywhere. And I could even change the story to be like, hey, we got to protect the kid, right? Not realizing that the kid's the one who's pulling all the strings.
Yeah.
And so have that kind of as another distraction. Oh, that's fine. And as we're going on, so there's little things like that I would have changed. And then of course there's scary movies. Fuck. Yeah. But it's a good one, and it tingles your brain and makes you think. So it's definitely not like I'm gonna put on Identity because I just want to watch something. No,
no,
fuck no.
Yeah,
this is one where you gotta sit down and watch and pay attention to it to get the full experience. But yeah, 3.5 for me. I think it was a good movie.
I like it. I'm glad you liked it. Maybe one day I'll make you watch it again. Happy Halloween, fuckers. And with that, Alec, tell me where they can find us.
Happy to. All right. Like JJ said, it's Halloween-ish. So this has been week 4 of John Cusack's month with October movies. And this is wrapping up John Cusack month in October movies. Next month, we'll have a brand new topic, brand new movies for November. So looking forward to that. Let us know in the comments below what you guys thought of our rating of Identity. Came out to be 3.75, which we don't do. So round up 4 out of 5. So let us know if you agree, disagree, and why. Best place to find us and see our smiling faces is on YouTube at What's Our Verdict. Best place to find us outside of that is on Patreon. What's Our Verdict Reviews. We have 600-ish. It's getting close up there if it's not there already. Extra bonus episodes, content, bloopers, outtakes. Mattson talking about stupid shit when he was still around. It's wonderful. That is behind a teeny little bit of paywall. So if you guys want to support the podcast, we do appreciate it. It helps keep the lights on. And so with that, oh, look at that. That's the best place to get involved with all the content. We do have votes, so get involved with the content selection through monthly votes and movie votes. And the voting part of it is absolutely free. So you can just join up, get a little bit of influence on what we're watching, and go from there. Special thanks to our current patrons, Charles and or CB and Rich. You guys are amazing. And with that, I'll kick it back to the Colossus of Clout, the King of Crash, a JJ.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Alec. Yeah, go check us out. We have a lot of fun. It's a little weird, but that's what we are.
It's a lot of weird.
Yeah. So, yeah, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Cinemagic out.
Whoa!